Percy, my boy, you really gonna let this slide? You gonna let Donnie, of all characters, do more than you in this fight against Meligaland? Not Nasians, not Gawain, not Tristan, not even Lancelot, but Donnie? Get back, Percy. Get back! Thank you to our final patron, Sis Lancelot, Praise the Sun, Strawbones, and Aaron. Now, before we hop into this breakdown of Chapter 73 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, please remember to leave your own in the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. You can support for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Now, let's hop into last review's poll. So, last review, I ended up asking y'all pretty peculiar question about a certain thing that happened last chapter. And of course, that question was, which was worse? the allegations from Guinevere or the allegations from Jericho? And overwhelmingly, like really overwhelmingly, 88% to 12, Jericho got that one. And like, I was at first when I saw the results, because notably I do watch the results, I do get notifications for them, like whenever there's like a certain jump in numbers, and I'm not exactly shocked or appalled or bamboozled by the results. It's not too surprising, mainly because like, yeah, he really was 10. Like I was first gonna blame it on recency bias, but it's like no, that is worse. That is just worse. And while there were some Jericho defenders, there were some Jericho elitists in the comments. Like, 80, I think that's by far, out of all the binary choice polls, that is the, like, biggest landslide I've ever seen. Out of the many polls I've done for the channel. And it definitely makes sense, right? Because, like, even if she said it was wrong, that doesn't stop it from being wrong. She literally betrayed her own kingdom for that. That's wild. However, thank you guys so much for participating in that poll. Please make sure you participate in tomorrow's poll dropping at 12 p.m. Make sure you get your input in on this chapter right here for next week's review. Now, let's get into Chapter 73. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil, and here we are to review Chapter 73 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which is known as the Demon Meligaland. And, I don't know. Did this chapter feel short to anyone? I mean, it's a mostly action chapter. That's probably why it felt short. But it feels like not much happens in this chapter overall. But at the same time, Nakaba, he seems to be swinging back against me. He's like, hold on. I heard you said I'm going to make these original characters irrelevant. Let me show you something there, buddy. But okay, Nakaba. Don't tease me like this. Don't tease me and then just get rid of the characters for the rest of the narrative. You better keep it up. Keep it up. I want to see them relevant, gosh darn it. Still don't know how you're going to keep Anne relevant. No, seriously. I'm waiting and intrigued to see that one. However, enough of that. Let's hop right into the chapter itself. And the first thing that gets me about this chapter is that Galen played no games, right? Because immediately he just, like, he took the staff. And not the staff. Well, yeah, it is the staff, I guess. He took the staff with the axe head and just said, "Here, Percy," and just like shoved it outward so hard that I'm actually shocked Percy blocked it. Like, I can get Dragon Handle itself not breaking because, you know, it's Dragon Handle. I feel like you could probably throw a meteor at that thing and it probably survives nothing but a couple scratches. But the blade work itself of Dragon Handle, it took that. I know it's coded in Percy's magic, but the fact that Percy's strong enough to take the, like, combined power of Meligaland, and who knows, we don't know how fusion works in Seven Deadly Sins. It may be just a simple addition, it may be a Fusey times Fusey, it may be Fusey plus Fusey times something, who knows. Knowing Nakaba, we'll never find out. But still, the fact that Percy was just able to flat tank that, no aura up, and though then again, I will admit, it definitely seems like this chapter was rushed. Maybe it's just the version I'm reading, but there's a lot of ink missing. Like, just generally, like all throughout the chapter, like even in these first panels, you can see none of Percy's shading or coloring is really in. Like, this is just the base drawing. Like, just fresh out the inking process. Typically, I'd say, like, about halfway through my videos, you'll see me get done with the inking process, and it looks naked. And then I have to go back through and add all the extra detail, the extra shading and stuff like that. It seems like Nakaba, maybe he was rushed. I don't know. I don't know what the cause of the break was in Japan. I never know those things, unfortunately. I'm not cultured. So I'm assuming what happened here is just Nakaba ran out of time. And thusly, his main priority was getting the drawings out and done. I'm not saying the drawings are bad or anything. It's not like... There's one chapter in Jujutsu Kaisen. When Jujutsu Kaisen was releasing and Gege wasn't feeling well, there was one chapter that was literally just the sketches. That's not this. This is still clean line art, clean line work. It's just obviously missing a lot of the shading and detail that Nakaba really goes for and really makes his art style unique in comparison to a lot of other mangaka. But we do get to see, while Percy is getting knocked back with extreme force and extreme determination. Shout out to Gawain. Like, she kicks up her foot on the edge of the axe staff, stops it, like, by digging her feet into the ground, and just locks it in place. Like, straight up, she was pushed back so hard. Oh. Sorry. I just heard the page. Melagallon. I keep calling him Mega Gallon. I don't know why. But Melagallon looks so, like, it's already a design you wouldn't catch me saying I'm fond of, admittedly. But without the armor shading on the main body, it just looks so nasty. It looks just infinitely. I'm probably drawing that. I don't know. This is another rare case where I actually started recording before I started drawing, so I may actually draw this image, so I may add the extra detail myself. But he looks like an egg. He looks like a mushroom egg with a tail. But it is very, very cool. It's cool to see that Gawain, even without her weapon, does have some, like, not necessarily, I wouldn't say hand to foot, foot to foot, CQC, essentially. She managed to block it, and I love the detail that since she was pushed back, but she's not on, like, fully stable ground or anything, the force behind Melagallon's thrust essentially forced the ground up around her, almost as if you were to go sliding on a rug. Which, once again, shows how dangerous and sturdy these characters are. Like, the average person wouldn't have a foot after that, and also, they wouldn't have a foot after that, as in their first foot would have been sliced open by the axe, and their second foot would have been snapped off in the ground. Once again, I think it's really, really cool. And I like how Gawain is outwardly, to be fair, she may not be directly supporting Percy here or trying to save him, but I like how it appears that way. Like, she's like, okay, can't lose this guy yet. We got this. However, we do get to see that while she did block and end up inadvertently saving Percy, that's interesting. Hold on, I'll need, before I comment on that, I'll need to wait a little bit. But we see the egg. The egg looks a bit shocked. And once again, Melascula is constantly opening and closing her eyes. And by Melascula, I mean, like, head Melascula. Obviously, Snake Melascula seems to not even have eyelids to close. But, like, a lot of the reactions, at least, I guess it makes sense expression-wise. But then again, it has 3 faces. But a lot of the reactions seem to be coming from the humanoid, I guess. I can't say human, it's a demon. Snake thing. But a lot of the reactions seem to be coming from the humanoid face of the demon Melascula on the side of the body, which is interesting, strange, yet interesting. And we do get to see that there's some sparkles going on in the sky, twinkling stars, if you will. And interesting. I like how Gawain says do it, as if she's seen what's about to happen before, which once again makes me wonder. I want to, even if it's just a quick flashback, like, it can just be like one panel of each thing they went through on their journey back. But yeah, I want to see their journey, because it seems like they do have some sort of synergy that's developed beyond this battle, because up to this point, the two haven't necessarily fought with each other, at least in front of us. Like, they didn't team up against Pelgard. Tristan didn't even fight Pelgard. Tristan took down Melascula, while it was Gawain and Percy that took down Gallon. But she seems to know exactly what Tristan is going to do here. So I wonder if that's implying history, or it's just Gawain being like, I have no idea what you're going to do, but do it anyway. Either one works. It's just very interesting. However, we do get to see that Tristan, I mean, like, I wish I could say Tristan is playing no games with an attack like this, but at the same time, bro, maybe being a demon would be easier in this case. So, like, in all actuality, he uses this amazing attack called Falling Stars. And, like, it is, I wish he called it Meteor Shower or something, or, like, if he called this, like, Shining Meteor Works. I know it'd be stupid. It'd just be like a deep cut for fans. Like, oh, that's a reference to Chandler's move. But this definitely reminds me of it, like sending down projectiles high from the heavens. But like, I feel like the cast, especially, I get it for Percy and Gawain. They don't care about Leonis. At best, they've heard about it and this is their first time being there. But Tristan, this is your home, dog. People sleep here. Like, what are you doing annihilating the ground like this? Like, I think the only giant we saw is now dead. Unless you're going to call up Diane, Auntie Diane or something like that. How are you planning to get all this fixed? Wouldn't it be easier to just, like, straight, alright, hold on a second, let me just, and, like, go demon mode and absolutely dive through him? Again? I don't know. Using this massive AoE attack on, I mean, it's not like Melagallon is a small target, but you're telling me, like, a ray of execution wouldn't have done anything? Like, just a single precise shot of light wouldn't do anything. You had to hit him with the gigantic AoE attack. Like, I would see falling stars being used on, like, a group of enemies. Like, straight up, okay, there's a whole army approaching, scorched earth, and just drop falling stars on him, because that would work. But Tristan, he seems so excited here to just absolutely annihilate another portion of his kingdom. Like, Meliodas, he a demon too. He don't manipulate the earth. Neither does your mama. Unless Thetis has some, I know Thetis, well, no, I know Merlin had a kingdom restoration spell just on deck. Like, she could just do that. She essentially rebuilt the kingdom overnight. So maybe Thetis has that. Maybe that's why Tristan's so confident in just annihilating all these people's, like, general living space and areas. But at the same time, come on now, dude. You're better than this. But then again, you know what I'll take this as? I'll take this as Tristan's, like, innate destructive tendency as a demon bleeding through even in his goddess state. Because I know he's classified as an Nephilim. So technically he should only be half goddess, half demon. But I'm just going to keep saying it. Biology-wise, considering we know Elizabeth, according to Nakaba himself, is half human, half goddess at this point. He's more demon than he is goddess. He may not like that. He may be afraid of that. And he may lose control because of that. But a lot of those more baser instincts that were programmed into him, programmed into his DNA by literally 2 generations back. Like what? Grandson of the Demon King. Like not great. Like there's no line of succession here. It's just like 2 lines back, and bada bing bada boom, you have the Demon King, the Great Destroyer. I don't know. It would make sense that he has some, like, not necessarily a disregard, but a higher inclination for destruction than most. Especially considering his goddess half. Like, looking at most goddesses, sure, there was those massive goddesses that were used in the war, but even looking at the archangels, without their graces, they weren't necessarily very destructive. Like, even Ludoshel himself, whose grace was essentially just a light amp, he was pretty, like, clean, concise, and neat. The only person who really, in terms of the goddesses, was, like, crazy destructive was the archangels when they were, like, but even then, now that I think about it, Sariel and Tarmiel just took you to another space. They took you to a different world. They didn't, like, destroy the general area around them. Meanwhile, Mael would definitely just destroy it. Like, a greatest son is not going to be nice to anyone or anything in the general vicinity. So Mael was a destructive goddess. But other than that, I feel like all these, like, massive, crazy, super AoE, destroy everything attacks are just, like, his demon side be like, hey, yo, let me tell you how to do something like this. So obviously, if you want to wipe them all out, you're just going to have to just detonate the entire area. Just annihilate it all. Like, I want no survivor. Like, that's what it seems here. And I will admit, it is just cool seeing Melagallon look up and being like, what in the world is this rapture? Like, straight up looking up and just seeing the light tear through the area around them. But specifically, note how I said around them. But we do cut back over to the regular squad, the squad of newbies. And not newbies, but just holy knights. And they're just looking at this like, huh? Like, like they're literally getting blown back by the pressure and force. And Nasian's just straight up like, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. This magic is wild. And the reason I even think more and more like this is just like Tristan unconsciously being on demon timing is because Anna's like, hold on there. is he really just trying to take us out with them? Like, what's the point of using such a massive destructive attack like this? And the thing is, shouts to Nasians being the head of the group, bro. Like, he's straight up, Donnie is cowering behind Nasians, because Nasians is the GOAT. Nasians is still best boy. Like, I don't care. Lancelot's so cool, though. Now, Lancelot got allegations, bro. Neither allegations are his fault, but he got allegations. Lancelot, he may let you know that the like button's free and so the subscribe button, but Lancelot, he ain't up there no more. He just ain't that dude. No, I'm kidding. He's still the GOAT. And so is Pelgar. But in terms of just like sheer best boyism, it's gotta be my boy Nasians, even though he is also not colored in. None of them are. And who knows, you may be able to chalk this up to just like, oh, the light is so bright, it's wiping away all that color. No, I don't think so. I think Nakaba just ran out of time and didn't have time to color ink and everything. Which is why, I mean, I'm not sure. I remember reading it somewhere that Nakaba didn't have assistants. But if he doesn't, Nakaba, don't be cheap. Get one. That's what they're here for. To ink things. However, Tristan, like, broski. One, is that 6 wings? Does he have 6 wings in that panel? I think broski... Wait, does broski literally have 6 wings? Hold on, I didn't even notice that. I think homie actually has 6 wings. Yeah, homie has 6 wings. Whoa. So yeah, that was a more... So there are levels to this. Because he has... So what does that mean? Like on a scaling degree, what does that mean? Because notably, unlike... Like, the only reason we know Demon Mark is at 2 times amp is because of Bond. Because Bond literally stole all of Meliodas' strength, speed, and stamina, and the two were relative to each other pretty much consistently throughout the entire series. So we know that Demon Mark is at 2 times amp because Meliodas literally doubled his power. You can argue it's higher because he absolutely annihilated twice his power. But semantics, another story for another day. We just simply say 2 times. But like, what are the wings levels now? Because now that means there are multiple... I keep saying it pretty much every review that has Tristan in it and has Tristan using his powers. But we now know he has base. He has 4 wings. He has 6 wings. He has goddess eyes. He has no goddess eyes with 4 wings. He has a demon mark. He has demon mark with wings. He has demon mark without wings. Well, that's just demon mark. But then he has the goddess eye, demon eye. Like, how many transformations can one man have? How many different combos? How many different fusions? What are the levels to this? What are the multiple? And Nakaba. No, he's just going to give me numbers. And I don't want the numbers in Nakaba, but I think that's the only thing we'll get. Because 6 wings, that's crazy. And they're all different sizes, too. Like, he has 1 pair of super wings, 2 and then, like, a second lower back pair of really tiny wings, and then, like, a middle tier size of wings that are above his head. So, I don't know. That's so weird. Does he have a level above this? And notably, maybe Nakaba just forgot to draw it. You know, unless he reverts after that panel where we see him huffing and puffing. I don't get it. He doesn't even have his Triskelion up. Then again, he has Triskelion up in the previous one. But I guess maybe he just reverted because it took a lot of energy out of him. But Tristan, once again, why spam such a high energy AoE attack if you're trying to be efficient? But once again, demon time. However, we do get to see that Percy is like, whoa. Oh, perks of Percy being small. I love how he's just latched onto Gawain's arm. Like, Gawain literally just has her hands on her hips, and Percy's just locked around her bicep because she's that big and he's that small. However, they do make a good point here. Like, no living creature is actually surviving that head-on attack. Like, if someone got hit by all that, they're dead, unironically. And we do get to see that Gawain is like, oh no, wait a minute. My senses are going off. Did they really take it head on? Or did they manage to avoid our spell? And Tristan is like, NANI dice kishkano? Because we see that Meligalan, in all his ugliness, I get it. Nakaba does like to draw monsters. But bro, I think I made his tag. I'll just make a video out of that. Sure. I will probably redesign Meligalan because ugh, nothing that is so ugly. But we do see that somehow, some way, Meligalan, despite looking to the sky and being like, is this death? They did manage to absolutely avoid pretty much every attack. No, not pretty much, just every attack. They're just massive smoking craters all around Meligaland. Wild. Shows how speedy he is. I mean, it does make sense. Like, I think there's a different reason why nothing's hitting Meligaland that I'll go into in a later scene happens. But we gotta remember, this is Galand plus Melascula. And remember what Galand did to Merlin. And I'm not saying these guys are Merlin tier or whatever. Like, ironically enough, just because of how nebulous Chaos Galand and Chaos Melascula are in comparison to their original selves, I'm not sure what scaling we can really extrapolate from this. Like, I don't know where to throw these guys in the original series because it's so nebulous. Like, are they stronger than their commandment selves, weaker than their commandment selves, anywhere around there? I don't know. We could hypothetically use Meliodas recognizing their magic, even though it's chaos altered, but I don't know. You can just recognize people's magics. People do have distinct magical signatures, so it may just feel like Melascula and Galand, but we don't have it if they're equals or not. We need Meliodas to say like, oh yeah, wow, great job, you guys. You beat someone the same level of the 10 Commandments. But even then, that's so vague, because like you have 10 Commandments fraudulent, you have 10 Commandments prime Meliodas, so you beat someone who is as strong as they were when they were commandments. Something along those lines for a statement. Then we can start doing some real scaling, because right now we're kind of in a void. we're in a very nebulous point right now where I don't know. Maybe it's valid. Maybe they're equals. Maybe they're weaker. I don't know. Galand proclaims he's stronger than ever, and he would solo Escanor, but bro got a sword in his throat, or not in his throat, but in his tummy, and then got torn in half and then blown up by a mini Percy. So I don't really know. However, we do get to see that in all their ugliness, they do declare,
"We are Meligaland, the bringer of destruction to all who oppose King Arthur."
All right, let me try and say how it's probably actually going to sound. Actually, that could be interesting. I'm not sure if I could edit that, because like, it would sound. How would that sound? Would it be their voices overlaid? I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I really have no idea how this is going to be voiced. Because seemingly they're speaking from two separate mouths, too. Because it seems like the Galand head is speaking and the Melascula head is speaking. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be so weird to see this thing in the anime. But regardless of that, it does seem like any of their hypothetical doubts of who they were and what they were is gone. Like, maybe this fusion just cleared their heads completely of any original objectives and just made them pure meat puppets, which does make sense. You probably want them as pure meat puppets than having individuality, because if they have individuality, well, be pretty hard pressed to control them. Though with that being the case, I wonder why even send them separately in the first place. Like, if you're just gonna invade, well, then again, Galand had to be revived, so I guess that makes sense. Send them separately, because you don't want Galand just wandering around. Makes sense. I'm interested to see how if this is the only time this happens, Nagaba doesn't use this concept again, and we never see any other Chaos Commandments, Chaos Archangels, Chaos Deities, I guess. But any of them, I think it would be a waste. But at the same time, I get why maybe you don't want to spam this. But at the same time, I feel like you have to. Before you get to Arthur, because we need to talk about how few people Arthur has as a buffer now, or at least established people he has as a buffer. Because, of course, you could just go the Seven Deadly Sins route where, plot twist, there are more people that are way stronger than the people you fought up to this point. Haha. But we'll see. But we do get to see, with Mega Galand, I keep calling him Mega Galand, Meligaland, being out here vibing as the great destroyer that they are. Percival is like, hey, I respect your hopes, your dreams, and your ambitions, but I'm sorry, I just personally cannot let this slide. And Percy, like, bro, I'm glad you de-latch from Gawain's arm, right? But at the same time, obviously, I mean, maybe, no, because he can sense magic. He can feel magic. So what did he really think he was going to do? If Tristan truly just dropped a whole literal, like, he dropped the sky on Meligaland, essentially, like, straight up, he threw stars at him. What did you what did you really think you were going to do with your slightly amped sword? Like, you're running at Meligalin. You aren't even flying at him. Like, in terms of hope, in terms of the hope juice, you were looking stronger at the end of, I think 3 chapters ago, at the end of chapter 69, where you were at least covered in hope magic. Now you're just putting it all into your sword. But it's not even like it's overflowing with energy. It's just like, I count 1, 2, mini Percy's, and that's it. So, I mean, I get it. Determination, drive, the will to win, the power of friendship. But at the same time, Percy, be a little smarter than that, my boy. However, we do get to see that Percy, the main reason he's driving so hard is that he's like, yo, let me lower you real quick. I respect your hustle. I respect your swagger. I get it. Y'all are some commanditos and whatever that means. But you guys are essentially just minions. You're pawns. You're fodder to King Arthur. So I can't afford to lose to you when I still need to beat my dad and beat King Arthur. And I do think that's really, really cool, right? Even with how delusional Percy is, obviously charging in the way he does here, it definitely makes sense that he charges in the way he does here, because he really is considering, like, where he stands, not only relative to his fellow knights, but relative to the world that he's going to be going up against. If these guys are just like, as Tristan described them, pawns, like nothing, minions, fodder to the real king himself, what is Percy going to do against anyone of value, especially the king, if he can't even handle the minions? That's like suddenly assuming that, oh, I can take on level 100 characters if I can't beat a level 10 character. It's obviously not logical. So he's just running in, charging against his fate, because he's like, this is the only way I can prove myself worthy of going up against anyone stronger. And it's good to show that deep down, underneath the pudding-loving, friend-loving, traveling, enjoying super Chad that is Percy, he still does have his main goal, his main desire, his main dream to get revenge for Varghese. Get that run back. Get that get back for his grandfather, essentially. And I think that's great. Sure. Does he go about it in the least optimal way possible? Yeah. Obviously, if you opened up the chapter getting pushed back by Meligalin, and that was when you seemed stronger, yeah, obviously charging in right now like this is not going to do much. However, we do get to see that he leaps into the air and he swings, but notably, he doesn't even truly make contact. Like, he's swinging at air, essentially. And maybe this is a continuation of the thing I pointed out in Chapter 69's review. Maybe, hypothetically and possibly, this is just happening because... No, this is the same thing that happened in that chapter where Percy swung seemingly way too far away. Like, to actually do any damage, way too far away, he ended up starting to swing. But it seems to be the same thing's happening here. Like, he's definitely trying to swing at Meligalin. Like, he's not trying to swing at air, but he is. It's almost as if there's an infinity between the two of them. And that's what I really think this is. Once again, Melascula is someone who is pretty hexed and does have the ability to manipulate spatial barriers and, like, straight up cause dimensional rifts and tear holes in the fabric of reality to bring certain things to form. So maybe with all the extra power of Galen, she's sort of manifesting a slight spatial barrier around them to attacks that they can directly perceive. So that's why Melascula, when she looked up at Starfall, managed to see all the attacks and sort of like redirect them. Like, you see the hands by Meligalin's such a stupid name, dog. But Meligalin, you see the hands sort of moving. They may be casting the spell concurrently, which is why none of the attacks really hitting and Percy's kind of swinging at air. Or it could just be there's an infinity between the them. Essentially, it's just Gojo. And I was hoping it was Gojo because, you know, if someone managed to break through something like Gojo, it may mean we don't need just absolute cancel anymore then. However, we do get to see that nothing's happening. And Tristan even points out, like, wait a minute. Golly gee willikers, fellas. None of our attacks, and I mean none of them, have been working. I wonder what kind of blasphemous technique could be causing such an impossible occurrence. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Nah, but it is interesting to note that Tristan of all people is like, wow, we really can't do nothing. But Tristan, once again, broski, oh, he's down to 2 wings. Yeah, he just be shifting between forms. Gosh darn, he has 15 different forms. That's another one. What? Base, 2 wings, 4 wings, 6 wings, Triskelion with all of those, which kind of doubles it. So that becomes what? 8. Demon Mark, Demon Eyes, half demon, half goddess. That's 11. But with that being said, Tristan, just do the thing, bro. Just do the thing. Tell them that the like button is free and so the subscribe button. But at the same time, please, just dive. Just dive. Just go Demon Mark, dive through them, annihilate them as you did before. But you do get to see that with this, Tristan believes there's a technique going on, but Donnie just believes, you stupid. Just aim. And who knows? Maybe Donnie is right here. Maybe they're just like genuinely whiffing because they aren't aiming properly. But at the same time, I do think there is some sort of technique. I think it is just Molasco manipulating a slight barrier, but it's not as effective as something like Infinity. It doesn't seem passive. It seems quite active, which is why Tristan points out only just recently. But then again, Meligalon appeared, and then they attacked, and then none of their attacks landed. So, who knows? It may not be just recently. It may just be a passive ability of this new form. However, interestingly enough, well, Donnie does call him out like, yo, idiots, just use aimbot. Nonsense is like, yo, I want you to realize something. You foolish individual. Do you even begin to comprehend the caliber of being that Percy and the new Percy squad are facing right now? Do you? Do you understand? Can you feel it? Can you feel their overwhelming earth? Do you remember this? Once again, absolutely insane that this is all happening in the... Remember, Lancelot was revealed to them as Lancelot today. The entire... Wow, it is crazy thinking about this timeline-wise. And I don't know why I'm only pointing this out here, because a lot of things happen in a day and a lot of other manga. But I don't know, just because of like how much of a chunk. I think like at least the past 8 months have been in a day. But don't you realize? Do you remember Fittich? That boy who had his own shivering our timbers and shaking in our boots to the point where our little foxy friend had to reveal himself to be I can't really call him a deity, but like a deity of sorts in terms of raw ability and power. Take a whiff of the individual that stands there fused before us and tell me, who do you think is superior? Fittich or Thicky the mushroom over there? And it is good, right? Like, Nonsian's being the calmest one in the group, he would be the one to point out, like, yo, this is an entirely different caliber than what we face up to this point. So, don't just get on them, beings who could literally all one-shot us. Like, you know Percy could solo all 3 of us at the same time. And so far, everyone we've seen is at least as strong as Percy, or like 5 times stronger. Don't just, if you want to do something, go get your get back right now. Go in there and do it yourself if you're that confident. Just aim properly. And that is a good point. And Donnie even is like, wow, Nazis, you didn't have to like roast me like that, bro, but you kind of spit. And once again, it goes to show you how inexperienced this group is, despite their like bravery and valor in a lot of scenarios. Like, this still is a group that in general has never run into things like this in their entire lives. And if they hadn't met Percy, they probably never would have. Like, Nazis would have never left the gorge, Anne would have never left her town, and Donnie would have never left. Well, he may have run into something. Donnie seems like just a generally unlucky fellow. So, hypothetically, but this is a level of power that may be incomprehensible to him. Because you got to remember, I'd say pretty much our entire cast or our entire original cast, minus Lancelot, like Donnie and Nasian and Percival, they were weaker than like Gil Thunder, Hauser, heck, Gila, maybe even Jericho. Like, they were pretty much confidently beneath them. None of them really gave off that Holy Knight tier level of power. You may argue they reached that, like Donnie especially may have reached that once he unlocked like pure telekinesis and maybe an amped Nasians reach that point. But then remember what happened when Gallant simply appeared in Camelot, in Camelot. He absolutely had everyone and their mother shivering their timbers, gosh darn it, and then he fused. So the level of strength here would probably be like so overwhelming that it goes back to like basic. No, here's a better example. Like, have you ever been so much of one thing that you go back to the opposite of that thing? Like, have you ever been so tired, but then you just randomly wake up? Like, you just randomly get a burst of energy? Or have you ever been like so elated about something and then suddenly you just snap back to zero? So maybe the power gap here is just so overwhelming that Donnie's like his brain just flat out broke. However, we do get to see that they don't have much time to discuss their power inadequacies because something happens. And that thing that happens is that Percy he gets a few of the touchy feelies on him. everyone is catching cases in this darn, but hey, according to this time, 16-year-olds were adults, but still. Everyone's getting so touchy-feely because all these extra hands that exist on top of Meligaland, which I still don't get the origin of. Is it just like Melascula had 2 hands and then a snake form? There was never a point where there were this many hands popping out Melascula. Like, are you telling me there was an in-between form before Melascula like properly harnessed herself where she was just a whole bunch of hands? Like, every last one of them was just a whole bunch of feelers? I don't know. And, like, they don't even seem like Melascula hands either. That's a muscular bicep that grabs Percy. And it's to the point where Percy, of all people, a dude who is quite physically strong, can't easily break out of this grip. So, that gorilla grip is crazy. But, with that, Percy, why don't you just... I mean... Obviously, Tristan doesn't care about his own kingdom. So why don't you just make another explosive mini Percy and just like absolutely annihilate? You'll heal. I mean, worst comes to worst, if you can heal, you got Tristan there. Sure, you may be huffing and puffing, but like it's better than getting probably physically torn apart. I don't know. Seems pretty wild. Also, an interesting thing is that maybe Meligaland just doesn't know, but why wouldn't one of its first priorities be to grab Dragon Handle? Not only does it take away Percy's weapon, and we know a weapon can give you a 10 times amp if wielded and enhanced with magic, so not only will it be taking away one of Percy's main attacking options, but also that is the final piece of the Coffin of Eternal Darkness, which Arthur does want. And we know Orlandi is watching this battle, supposedly still, at least if we're going off of... How long ago was that chapter when Arthur said he was going to show up? But we know Orlandi is watching, so wouldn't like one of the first commands, because we know, I mean, maybe they can't broadcast commands, but that seems weird. Like, the level of communication seems so low. But I think a common goal amongst all of Arthur's subordinates, whether they be Chaos Resurrections or even Knights, is that, if you see the last piece of the Coffin of Eternal Darkness, nab that, like, right now, like, take that. And they don't. I don't know. Maybe they were going to take it after they chopped, maybe they're going to chop his arm off or chop him off, because notably you do see 2 of the other Meligaland hands just like reel back, get real tense with Lita in hand, like they were about to bisect Percy. So hypothetically, it could have very much worked out in their favor. They were just trying to get rid of him and then take Dragon Handle while he couldn't fight back anymore. But considering he's in quite the restrained position anyway, I don't know. I feel like that'd be the first thing to do. Especially, I mean, I'm not sure, because Melascula or Meligaland threw off the teleport of Gawain. But that doesn't necessarily mean they can teleport themselves, but I feel like, if anything, that would be the easiest dub. Just like, grab Dragon Handle, have one of the other hands, open a portal back to Camelot, drop it through, bada bing, bada boom, kind of a GG. But we'll see. However, I still do love that the Meligaland hand is like, it's time. We must bisect the knight with the other knight's weapon. Kind of funny. But we do get to see that the Holy Knights are like, NANI, the knight that's way stronger than all of us needs our help. Let's help him. You'll die. Instantly. Like, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Nakaba did not feel like buffing you all. you need to perish. Or, well, you don't need to perish, but you will. However, we do get to see that before they can all sacrifice their lives, Gawain is like, alright, fine. I ain't playing no games. You can't have my little brother. As much as I would like you to have my little brother, you cannot have him. We have enough allegations in the series already. Everyone, you got at least 100 feet back. I'm about to do something stupid. And, not stupid in like a bad way, but something stupid. And we see, I love how everyone just immediately realizes. Because the thing is, right? Escanor, I'm not sure how old all of these knights are. I'm pretty sure Pelio himself at least ran into Escanor that one time when the Sins came and saved that village. I think that was the one time Pelio may have met Escanor. But notably, no one of these knights, even though some of them do seem to be older and like veterans of the war, none of them actually seem to acknowledge the fact that Gawain's magic feels familiar. Like, they felt an incarnation of it before, which may just be normal, you know. Not every day you feel Sunshine Magician, Sunshine Magic user, especially considering it's been, 16 years since Escanor's death? It's probably been a minute. Been long enough that they probably forgot the scent of it. But then again, I was going to say, Meliodas remembers what Melascula and Gallon feel like, and I think their deaths, at least Gallon's, like, that's over 16 years old. Because there's like a 6-month time skip after Gallon was turned to stone, so. But that, once again, 16 years to Meliodas after living for 3,000 is probably like a blink. So it probably just didn't register to him. And that's 3,000 plus the 1,000 he lived in purgatory. So yeah, 16 years probably ain't too long. However, we do get to see that apparently Gawain just decided that this was the best course of action. I mean, I guess maybe what she thought was gonna worked out, but at least from my interpretation, I wouldn't necessarily have done this. It seems a little bit like magic wasty. I would have tried to test out and figure out what the barrier is that's around them. But she says the reason is a mystery, but if there's no single point on you where we can aim, then let's aim for everywhere around you. But that's literally what Tristan just did. Like, falling stars was not a very precise aimed attack or like single source. It was a whole bunch of like light meteorites. So maybe creating a gigantic firebomb was not the way to go, but seemingly it is the way to go, because Melascula's face starts burning and Melagallon does look extremely worried. And we get Sunshine Burst. And it's a massive fiery ball that lights up the entire area, to the point where all of Melagallon's torso, lower torso, is burned up and charred to a crisp. And two things to note. It doesn't let go of Percy, but it does let go of Lita. Lita does get out of its grip. However, as we'll see, that doesn't necessarily matter too much, at least in the context of this fight. Because while Melagallon is Sunshine Bursted, which is a very beautiful looking panel, this is probably where a lot of Nakaba's time went to, we see that even the top part, despite only the bottom half really being consumed in fire, Melascula's snakehead is cooking. And Percival is also, shockingly enough, not necessarily cooking. He's just like struggling to breathe because of the smoke. Though you'd think he'd be cooking too, because the hand should be on fire as well. If Melagallon's Melascula head is burning, snakehead is burning, shouldn't Percy be burning too? Whatever. But we do see that their charred grip does loosen on Percy to the point where he gets to escape. And we see Lita is falling while Percival is rising, reaching to the heavens, to Tristan, who's falling from the heavens. Once again, 2 wings, no Triskelion. No, but I need these amps, bro. I need these amps detailed. But we do see that he's like, Percival, quick, grab my hand. I'll take you to salvation. And Melagallon's like, no. And reaches out with their armored hand. Which, shockingly enough, is not burnt. Like, I guess maybe, but metal would burn easier, right? Or at least it would heat up easier. However, we do see Melegalon does get a good grippy. Percy closes his eyes because he's afraid of the grippy. Tristan has him in his grippy, and for some reason, somehow, in some way, Melegalon is now floating, or essentially lost their balance, fluttering in midair. And once again, I don't know, it's such a... Is goofy the appropriate word? Like, like, it's such a goofy design to see floating like that. It's a goofy design in general, but to see it floating just looks extra like, like straight goofy. However, we do get to see that this is where Nakaba, he's challenging me. He's challenging me. He's putting me up to the test. He's like, okay, I seen what you're doing here. He's saying I won't keep the characters relevant. You come into my home and you disrespect me on the day of my manga's wedding. And dang. Did you know the like button is free and so is the subscribe button? No, I'm kidding. But he challenges me, and Donnie the Donster, of all characters, steps forth right next to Gawain and lifts Melegalon into the air. Notably, I mean, only lifting though. He doesn't actually use his advanced telekinesis, though it's hypothetically possible that the reason he doesn't is because it would whiff, or like it'd be a lot harder to manipulate someone like Melegalon than it would be to manipulate Big Boy. I forget Big Boy. I only remember Fittish's name. And I remember one was a carrion eater. Elgin, the carrion eater. I don't remember what the big guy's name was. But maybe the big guy's a lot easier to throw than Melegalon because of their magic density. Density? I don't even know what I said. Density. Maybe the magic density is a lot less on the big guy versus Melegalon. However, we do get to see that getting this close and saving Percy is not without consequences because he is cooking. And Gawain is even like, yo, I'm in love with you real quick. You trying to get yourself up out of here? Because there are many easier ways than this, my boy. Like, you can just go grab my sword. They dropped it. But we do see that Gawain does say, I should have. I'm assuming that's just a translation thing. But she says, I should have ordered you to step back. But Gawain, you did. You told everyone to step back. So I think the translation would have been, didn't I order you to step back? Or I did order you to step, something along those lines. I should have ordered you implies that she didn't order him, but she did. However, we do get to see that Donnie's like, yo, sorry, I'm the OG that's still alive, because Varghese was really the OG, but he got off. So I'm the OG. I've been here for longer than you have. I've been in the apple of Percy's eye longer, and I gotta save my boy. So I will be a fool. I don't even care, as long as I can protect my friend. Friendship. Power. And, you know, it's corny, but I'll take it. I really want to see, it can be Arthur, it can be Merlin, someone of real power, just knock the friendship out of him. Like, straight up, do something so devastating, dark, desperate, and despairing that all the friendship power in the world can't revive their hope. Like, I know that's dark, that's horrible to say that, I shouldn't really want that, but I do. This is because the power of friendship, it's gotten them pretty far. And I know it's classified as the power of hope, really. Like, their hope in themselves and their friend, and that's why they're able to succeed where others couldn't succeed, and that's why they're the goats and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, someone powerful needs to come and knock that out of them. I want them to still have it. I don't want them to absolutely get, like, slaughtered or anything like that. But a morale debuff would be nice. However, we do get to see... Oh, never mind. So Gallon does throw him. I didn't even realize that. Melegalon does get tossed and thrown. Bouncing along. So, Donnie, stronger than Gawain? No, I'm kidding. But we do get to see that shock horror, the magic overuse, and it being lit by Gawain does take Donnie out of the picture to the point where Nasian screams, Donnie-chan! And runs towards him to try and heal him. And Gawain's just done. She's right. Alright, bet. Warned y'all. Night-night. And just straight drops. Like, it is crazy. Her leg is Donnie. Like, literally his whole body length. Like, just her leg. But apparently now she's gone and done it. And she's used too much magic today. And she just knocks out. So, I guess her sunshine kind of sucks. I mean, everyone has limited magic, right? Anyone can technically run out of magic. But, like, I don't know. Did any of our... King ran out of magic, but even then, he could still use spells. He still stayed conscious. I don't think Diane ever really ran out of magic. Meliodas never ran out of magic, ever. Man, that man always had magic in reserve. Bond never ran out of magic. It is interesting. I guess... And so, I mean, it is a big way. It is a massive way to differentiate her sunshine from Escanor's sunshine. But I wonder what caused such a massive change. Because her sunshine just now it doesn't even seem like the same magic anymore. Like, you could just, for Mael to Escanor, you could literally just argue it was a mutation transition. Like, it was made for a goddess and it went to a human. Tough noogies. Oh well. That's why Escanor mutated whenever he went through the usage of sunshine. Also, he was born with it. That's different. But Gawain, just a limited amount. Like, she just doesn't. Like, there's so many. That's such a weird thing for her magic to function like that. So I guess she just has, like, limited time period. So does she need to sleep? How long does she have to sleep to get her magic back? Well, if she wakes up, will she have all her magic back? Is it limited? I don't even know how the sun actually works with this one anymore. Can't wait for everyone to say this debunks the lore meta, but still, no, it doesn't. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, this is weird. Very, very weird. I guess we're going to see... I can only assume what's going to happen, because the next chapter is called A Desperate Resistance. I'm assuming Tristan and Percy and Anne and Nasians are going to be, like, fighting off against Melagallon, because now they're just too strong, too powerful. And for some reason, Tristan's not just going to one-shot him with demon mode, because plot. And then Lancelot's going to show up at the end of chapter 74, and then we'll have, like, once again, consistently, because Nagabas seems heavily against us seeing all four knights fight together, we're going to get Lance, Tristan, and Percy all maxed out going up against Melagallon, and that'll be their defeat. Assumedly. I don't know. I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. But for this chapter, it was pretty solid. Little short. Well, it feels short. I'm not going to lie. It feels short, but I talked about it for a long time. But it feels short. It has some weird character stuff in it. And also the panels aren't, like, it's not a complete chapter. You can just tell by the lack of coloring in some instances. However, it still is pretty darn solid. However, those are my thoughts. Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do a Patreon down below. You support me for as low as $1 a month. Like things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with a Pencil, writing off.